Prepare yourselves, fools. This program contains graphic language like fuck, shit, and cunt. It also contains discussions about violence and graphic descriptions of gore, such as cunt punning a dead nun while the entrails and blood splatter your face in your new shirt. I digress. This show is for adults, so dispose of your children as you see fit. Now silence and enjoy the show.
Bigfoot, undisputedly the world's most entertaining cryptid. Join the Reverend Jeff Kelly and your old pal Wes as they discuss the best and worst the media has to offer. Movies, books, TV shows, commercials, all on Bigfoot Entertainment Weekly.
Welcome, everybody, to Bigfoot Entertainment Weekly. I am your host, the Reverend Jeff Kelly. That's right. Bamp, hoot, masturbate all the way down until you're satisfied. Pound your conch every day, as Jim Phillips used to say. Over there on the other side of the world is Wes. I'm your pal, Losner, of WesLosner.com. How you doing, buddy?
So fucking. Ooh, Wes, I'm your pal.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's my wrestling name right there.
That's it. I'm your pal, Losner. That's right. Undefeated in his 3 bouts here in the BEW. Tonight he's going to be taking on the Reverend for a one-on-one cage match for shits and giggles. That's right. So, hey, check it out. This week we're talking about Bigfoot's Reflections. The old Reverend here finally gave away a 30-day trial to Netflix, basically, so he could watch Trailer Park Boys for free. And we happen to have access to the Bigfoot flicks on Netflix. So, we decided Bigfoot's Reflection is something we haven't done on the show. And it's a documentary style show rather than a really shitty Bigfoot movie. So with that in mind, Wes, where did we start off with all this mess?
Well, you get the whole intro, and you get this dude talking, and
Canada.
It puts up Frederick Nietzsche. I don't know how to pronounce the dude's quote, but it's, if you gaze for long into the abyss also gazes into you. And then it's this, I'm going to murder this guy's name every time I fucking say it, so just have fun with it, everybody. But the first time I heard it, it sounded like Mel Shakan. He's talking, and I read this, not heard this. I read his name on the screen, all right? And I still couldn't write it down right. He's this native, and he's talking about, stories he was told, as a child and everything. That scene drags out a bit, and then you get Bill Miller. Bill Miller's a researcher, and he talks about, talks about his story, he had in Harrison Lake in Canada, I believe. And it was in 1980, and he was on a fishing trip, and him and some buddies, or I think it was his family, that he ended up seeing, Squatch and shit. And he tells his story and everything like that. Then they get to this dude who I like, who is John Kirk III, that researcher. He's got a British accent, and he's talking about, he don't get down with the woo, so woo shit about Bigfoot and everything. So I like that about him. He hasn't lost his mind like everybody else. And then after that whole scene and talking to him and everything about his research, they get to good old John Green. And I love seeing John Green and everything, anytime they mention him.
Yeah, dude, he was old John Green, which means it wasn't done. I mean, it was 2007, I think, is when this was done. So that's, going on 9 years ago now. Holy crap, he's even older now. But yeah, you got some of the feeling of how John himself, feels after this many years of still likes his own evidence the best.
Yeah. And he should, because he ain't out there fucking dancing in portals with gremlins. But so then they talked to a guy named Robert. I think it was Pyle, because when the names pop up really fast for your old pal here, you can't write names down that quick. He's doing it on a pad and paper, and probably with one of these in his hand, so you got to bear with me on these notes, so it's Robert Pyle or whatever, but they made sure to tell you he's a PhD, and he was useless in this. All he did really was introduce John Bindernagel. I make fun of the guy now because of his whole shit was standing. And I'll get to that later about this, because he says something that really ticks me off.
To be fair about that whole thing with Bindernagel and standing, was Dr. Meldrum was responsible for that. Standing wouldn't have been able to get to Bindernagel if it was not for the relationship that he created with Dr. Meldrum. So now all of a sudden Bindernagel's wrapped up into Standing's crap because of Dr. Meldrum. And I'm not going to let anybody forget about that. Anyhow, moving right along.
Yeah, so then after they, you hear from Bindernagel and everything, you get to old Lee Moeller, from the Skeptical Society for fucking skeptic whatever the fucks from wherever the fuck.
Wherever the fuck from wherever the fuck.
Yeah. That guy, he's your negative Nancy through this whole freaking, documentary, whatever it is. And then they get to, I don't know how the fuck to say this guy's name, but Justin Tautier or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. He's French. He's a Frenchy Canadian. Yeah, so it's, Boudier, Bombardier, whatever it is.
Yeah. So he talks his, whole spiel, and then it goes back, this whole thing is going back and forth between all of these guys that are getting introduced. And then Bindernagel starts, talking about, tracks, and he starts showing casts and shit, talking about, certain things he comes across with, the young, juvenile casts and shit like that, And then good old fucking Skeptical Society Mueller, whatever the fuck, from wherever the fuck, starts talking about hoaxers and shit, because
you can't get science you can't get science to really look into the subject while there's hoaxing going on. Hey, this is probably a good point, maybe not, but we should probably go ahead and do it anyhow. Let's get the shout outs in the lounge out of the way. And look, I've actually managed to get it up on the screens, so hallelujah. Let's say hi to the people who are out there tonight. Cameron Young got his first live show in the night. Congratulations, man. Glad to see you. Collier Wilms, man.
Cameron Young from Vietnam.
From Vietnam, that's right. Collier Wilms. Dude, can't wait to see your Bigfoot video. You got to send me some footage or something, bro. We got to talk. Yeah, that was a little bit of Showtime problems, but we're back in live. Rod Dupree, feeling good watching the show, rolling them blunts and smoking that
Rod Dupree in the place to be, son.
That's right. Oh, look, my friend Claudia Akeley, she finally showed up. How you doing? I know we're a little offensive tonight, but you'll get over it. Your ears aren't that delicate. The Life and Times of JCM, he finally showed up. Nope.
Fuck.
8 p.m., you jackass. It's the time we always start out. Anybody else out there? Tough shit, you missed the shout outs this week, but we'll try you again next week. Thanks everybody for watching live. YouTube.com/S Lounge Podcast is where all the fun is at. All right, Mr. Wesley.
In your butt. Yeah. So then we get to the dope ass dude, Mr.
Only 8% of guys when they're kids like to draw penises. I wasn't one of those guys.
Yeah, I never wasted my time drawing a wiener.
No, I've never trimmed
But
a wiener. Never in my life. Not one time.
Speaking of wieners, Thomas Steinberg, the researcher, meets up with Bill Miller, and I'm not calling Steinberg.
A wiener.
I'm bad with names.
Moving right along into
Thomas,
the movie.
Yeah, he goes on an expedition, I guess you would say, with Bill Miller, and they're going out walking around and shit. So then you get to Christine Walls. Now, Christine Walls is the only thing I recognize her from is from a Monster Quest episode where the women were going to do an experiment where it's all women.
And some of them were on there.
And there was that one researcher guy. Yeah, there's that one researcher guy that was like, you know what? If there's going to be an all-women thing, the boys need to go.
That's every weekend, jackass.
You could tell that's what that. Yeah, you could tell that's what that guy was like. You know, because he like made a point to say that. But yeah, that lady, she talks about research and looking for Bigfoot and shit like that. And then Bindernagel again. Talking about, you know, reports, you know, certain reports about Bigfoot
half
and
of the
sightings.
Showed us
just, you know,
half of the cast that he showed us, I would look at from somebody just go, no, that's not even. I mean, the ones that are all like splayed out, like just very strangely looking. I don't know, man. I mean, Bindernagel is a believer. He is not that there's a possible. No, they are out there, and this is why they are out there. That's not very scientific, like, because we don't have a catalog of them quite yet. But saying that, at least, yeah, man, some of those casts he showed were a little bit weirdly shaped in my book. Swinging a miss, strike two.
Yeah, so like they're going back and forth, Bindernagel and all these other guys. And then you get good old Mel Shakama, whatever the native, and he's talking about one of his, you know, sightings, because he's had a bunch. And then, they go back to Bindernagel, and he's talking about, I don't know what the fuck that says. Oh, Sasquatch, you know, specifics and shit, like, you know, like the bone structure and how they walk, and their gait is like, you know, not like humans are like, I guess, fucking a different way, and they Sasquatch walk a straight line, and they, you know, go into talking about
the way that the humans walk with a locked knee versus the bent knee of the Sasquatch. And, you know, and I was sitting here, we were looking at this, and of course they show the Bluff Creek footage in this film, and they talk about that again. And I was just sitting there looking at it going, you know, we just talked about this picture in the lounge the other day, and we talked about it on the lounge podcast a few weeks back, about the Sasquatch, the picture of the dog facing off with a Bigfoot that somebody took, and it looked like the damn thing was wearing fur Levi's. I mean, it literally looked like it was wearing fur pants, okay? But when you look at the Patterson film, it doesn't look like it's wearing fur pants, and that's what it would have had to have been. It literally looks like muscle covered with hair. So unless this person was actually shaped the way that they were and they glued pieces of hair to it, I can't think of another explanation. But as an example, I don't even care about the boobs. Just look at the legs of the Sasquatch. It looks like legs covered in hair, not Levi's covered, not pants covered in hair. Not, I think he called them one time, I think they were like fishing overalls or a fishing bib that was supposedly used to, you know, and covered with hair. I mean, a horse hide at that. Whatever. Sorry. Rant over.
Well, yeah, and then you get to good old Mueller, the douche, fucking, and he drag talks for a long ass fucking time in this scene. And then it's just going back and forth between everyone. Is it real? You know, all these skeptic people are talking about it, and they have a few of those guys going off. And then you get the man himself, Richard Knoll, Kato Kalin.
Kato Kalin himself. That's
I swear to God, Kato Kalin. discovered Bigfoot and changed his name to Richard Knoll.
For those of you who don't know, Kato Caitlin was the driver of O.J. Simpson the night that he supposedly did or did not kill Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Brown. I think his name was. Sad that I don't know that guy's name.
Bindernagel.
Bindernagel was not his name. He did not kill Nicole Brown Simpson and Bindernagel, but we'll just make sure that that's clear. Dr. Bindernagel is still alive and well. Moving right along.
But OJ is looking for him.
Yes, well, OJ's still in jail.
So speaking of Bindernagel,
for a while. That dude's dumb. Oh my god. How do you rob somebody for sports memorabilia that has your name on it and end up in jail for it? Oh, that's just... Sorry. I need a white Bronco and a friend named Al to get me out of here real quick.
oh man. So
wait, there's a white Bronco out front. I gotta go real quick.
So, all right. So, fucking Bender Bagel fucking talks about fucking amateurs and fucking amateur researchers and how science doesn't want to look at Bigfoot and all this bullshit. You know, the same fucking speech, yada yada yada. Look at me, science, like science is a person. Then you get old Mel Shaka Zulu telling another one of his Bigfoot stories. After that, you get John Kirk, and he's talking about how he studies gorillas and all that shit. And
I go to the zoo a couple of times a week and just sit and watch them. They seem kind of sad. If I led to a Sasquatch being in a zoo, I don't think I could really deal with that. Now, I'm making fun of the guy, but to tell you the truth, I'm not really making fun of the guy because I feel exactly the same way. I would rather kill one, bring it in, put it on the slab for the scientist to catalog the DNA, carve up, cut up, dissect, learn everything they can about it so that they don't have to put it in a zoo, like, you know, preserve, like, you know, enclosure and feed it. That's just, I can't imagine something that wild being penned up and just fed like an animal. I'll give away one of my theories. Ooh, everybody wants to know what Reverend Jeff thinks about shit. Well, I'll tell you this one here. I honestly think that a lot of the DNA comes back as human because Bigfoot and Sasquatch are so close in DNA that they probably can't tell the difference until they look in the proper locations along the DNA strings. Saying that, I don't believe they're human. I don't believe they're anything close to human. I just think that they are close enough to human, closer than the chimpanzee, that we're going to have to look in specific locations to find the difference in the DNA structure between a Sasquatch and a human, seeing as how we are all chimpanzees. That's right. Humans, chimpanzees, bonobos, the billy ape, and Sasquatches all are related. Imagine that. So closely. Yeah, so closely that it's like the difference between you and your cousin is the difference also between you and a chimpanzee.
Except ancient aliens have messed with your DNA.
That's right. Oh, God love you,
and
Greg Newkirk.
Turned off your power to turn on your portals.
Oh, the Mystery House.
So, speaking of that, we get
the Oregon Mystery House and Fun House. The Mystery Fun House and Vortex is not powering your Bigfoot portal. I'm sorry. Anyhow, let's get back to the show.
Someone's portal. I'll give you that much.
And Dr. Johnson's Portal Protector. Get your can for $19.95. Send your money to PayPal, KelJeffInc at gmail.com.
Now with 48% more.
That's right, 48% more air. I guarantee anybody who sends me
Speaking of
1995
wackadoos.
to that email address via PayPal will get absolutely nothing from me. I guarantee deliver of nothing. I promise no contribution to the world in any way possible. I'm going to do absolutely nothing. The most amount of nothing I can do for your 1995. Just send that right along via PayPal to keljeffhank@gmail.com. Sorry. That's my real thought.
Give me money,
That's
motherfucker.
right. I'm going to do absolutely nothing for it either. Just fucking send it to me. I need it. Woo! Sorry, people. Reverend's in rare form tonight. Let's get out of this one, man. Yeah.
So here comes Mel Shaka Zulu with another one of his stories, and he's talking about Huffin' and Puffin' story. Hearing
yeah, everything
shit.
can make that sound. I love that comment too. He's like, yeah, I heard this noise, and everything in the forest can make that noise, but I'm pretty sure it was a Bigfoot. It's like, really? It couldn't be everything else, but it had to be a Bigfoot. You idiot. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So then, after that scene, they talk about how a big animal could live off of a certain amount of calories and all that bullshit and what it would eat, and they talked about the berries and all that shit, and then you get Bill Miller again talking about some. And what he talks about, you're just gonna have to find that out on your own. Get Netflix, motherfucker.
We don't know what he was talking about either. He went on for minutes, and I don't even remember what the hell he was saying. So, wow, that was the gray hair, the gray goatee guy, right?
Yeah,
it was that guy.
And then you get John Kirk, and he starts talking about Bluff Creek. And that's when they start getting into the whole Patterson-Gimlin story and talking about it. And, I mean, this is like, a good 10-minute segment of this documentary. And then, as it is for every documentary, they always focus on this. But
it's the absolute best footage of a proposed Bigfoot in existence. If it's real, it's absolutely amazing. If it's fake, it's fucking amazing that it's fake. Either way, it's amazing.
I didn't see any portals though.
No, nor did I. And there's no mystery house or vortex.
I didn't see any
to power one.
I didn't see any glowing eyes, and she didn't seem to turn on her cloaker.
Yeah,
she just kind of walked away.
Yeah, she just kind of walked away.
I don't know. I just no woo there.
Pardon me while I whip this out.
Yeah, so they go talking about studying the film and everything, and then Bindernagel, this is the scene. This is where I was telling you that Bindernagel pisses me off. All right. Bindernagel, when he's talking, he says this. When he's talking about Bigfoot to people and everything, he says he doesn't claim the Patterson-Gimlin footage is evidence or anything about the species anymore because of all the controversy and all the bullshit that goes along with it, and everything about it might be a hoax and all this crap, and no one can prove it and all this bullshit, right? So then this motherfucker goes and does a documentary and fucking is doing on this fucking radio show and being seen with fucking two woo people. And not woo, but Tom Standing hoaxer, and then fucking what? Lee fucking whatever's talking to Bigfoot now too for ratings. Right?
Right.
Are you not familiar with that, or?
No, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. What are you talking about?
Oh, supposedly fucking what's it called? Fucking Lee Stroud heard fucking
Les Stroud,
Bigfoot talking to him.
Yeah, it's in his brain. Well, people are claiming that. I haven't seen him claiming that anywhere, but I've seen. Yeah. I saw that where he was talking about it. when you're sitting there with your eyes closed, okay, just follow along with me here for a moment, okay? We're sitting up on a bluff somewhere, looking over a friggin' valley, and we've got our legs closed, and we're communing with nature, and we're all snuggled up, and we've done our mama haka cheeseburger steak chicka chicka, mama steak and cheeseburger cheese steak chicka chicka. You know, we've done our Bigfoot language. We've got our chakras all aligned, and got our pineal glands friggin' all flowing. But hey, I even have my damn flute. Okay, I learned to play this thing again from a kid because people told me this shit would work. And we're begging, we're praying that the Bigfoot people will let us see through their eyes, and the shit doesn't work. I'm sorry, but it just doesn't work. And I love you, Greg. I do. I really do. But you can't be upset with people like us who trek hundreds of miles off grid every year and find tracks and evidence of these things. Those are the guys who are finding evidence to Bigfoot. To tell us that the woo footers have just as much evidence to Bigfoot as the real-time researchers is an insult. It's very much an insult because nobody sitting and communing with nature, begging to be seeing through a Bigfoot eyes, has ever walked away with any kind of physical evidence of anything but a dream they may have had in their mind.
A story. Yeah, so then
rainbow, Bigfoot.
So
sorry.
After all that nonsense, they talk about new species and like finding that chimp bonobos or whatever the fucks and all that shit, and then they get into the whole same discussion, the we need a body, and this is what you were talking about earlier. Kalen talks about how he goes and sees the gorillas and how they're sad, and he doesn't want Bigfoot to be sad.
Yeah, I don't want Bigfoot to be sad. I don't want Bigfoot to be sad either. That would suck. I'm sure that the gorillas in the zoo are sad. I guarantee you they're sad. Yeah. I honestly think in modern days, if your zoo is part of a breeding program for an endangered species, then you should be able to keep those animals alive. Domestic animals, normal animals, stuff that we have that we can share around that isn't endangered. But I mean, honestly, we don't need to keep upper prime. We don't even need to keep lions in a zoo anymore. Show me an exhibit. Bring me by 108 friggin' inch digital friggin' TV screen, and I won't know the difference. I can't tell the difference between a 4K friggin' screen and those lions laying over there in the actual field anymore. That's the whole purpose of all this 4K friggin' technology crap. So take me through the exhibit. I mean, build a park for me to go and experience all this stuff in. But you don't need to actually keep the animals actually in it anymore. It can be virtual animals in your zoo, and no one's actually going to be disappointed. Hell, you could make really cool 3D displays and make everybody wear friggin' goggles as they walk around the friggin' zoo. That would be kick-ass. Wow. But to continuously keep upper primates and large cats and shit that we just ain't got no business keeping in these zoos anymore, it's kind of bullshit. Sorry. Pet peeve. I love zoos. I love visiting zoos. I love photographing zoos, but I honestly don't think zoos should exist anymore. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I can go on the internet and see what a gorilla looks like. I don't need to go down to my local park and see one.
Yeah. And speaking of gorillas, old Shakamaka Makalaka Zulu tells another story. Tells another story about
the Shahala story of the Sasquatch.
That guy needs donations. We need to get him a camera phone on his fucking. I just said that. A camera phone. Yeah, get that motherfucker a camera phone and some fucking GoPros to strap to him because he's seen Bigfoot so many fucking times and he's never once had a camera. So what the fuck? There's Mel Shakalaka Laka Daka Ding Dang.
speaking of cameras, while we're
But
in here, and I
anyways.
am the insert guy, if you're a camera buff and you like the GoPro stuff, there is a China knockoff that has 4K technology in it for $65 that actually kicks the crap out of the GoPro's performance. It doesn't have fisheye. Anyhow, and all the accessories for GoPros work for them. So if you already have a GoPro with all those accessories, check out those Chinese 4K models, because even if they break, you can just buy a new one. Anyhow, sorry. I hate GoPro. I hate everything about a
So
GoPro.
then there's Pro Go. So there's this whole talk about Biggie surviving, like the logging bullshit that's going on, and then they show the Patterson Gimlin footage, and it's like slow mo, and then they start playing sad music, and then you realize the things ended, and no more Kato Kaelin or Shaka Zulu stories, and everybody's sad because nobody saw Bigfoot's reflection.
That's right.
But if you want to watch it, I don't feel you learn much about Bigfoot really in this, as people, it's just people talking about Bigfoot, if that makes sense. Because you're not going to learn much about it.
It's not for beginners. This is definitely intermediate guide to Sasquatch experiences. Maybe this isn't like Bigfoot 101. This isn't like the introductory class to what is a Bigfoot, what does a Bigfoot look like, what does a Bigfoot eat, what does a Bigfoot do. There's those documentaries, and maybe we should start putting together those lists of where those fit in. I would say that this is definitely an advanceder. That's definitely not a real word. A more advanced class.
It is on BEW trademark
for an advanced class for stupids. No, and a more advanced class than Bigfoot 101. This is probably Bigfoot psychology. Bigfoot psychology. So wherever that would fit into your Bigfoot education, maybe we'll start doing that, Wes. We'll start putting together your Bigfoot college education, where to start and where to end, and you can have a master's degree in Bigfootology, just like your old pal Wes and the old Rev here.
From watching
documentaries.
Bigfoot.
That's right. From watching Bigfoot documentaries, you too can become a Bigfoot expert. Dude, that's how the guys on Ancient Aliens TV got it, man. They just read some friggin' books, declared themselves experts, and they got a damn TV show that's running 10 years now. Dude, Hair Guy has a degree in Jerry Maguire. Okay, think about that. Just one moment. Okay, sports management. He's an ancient alien theorist. Well, I'm a Bigfoot theorist. I'm an ancient Bigfoot theorist. How about that? And we can clash heads one time on history.
I'm a present Bigfoot theorist.
Present Bigfoot theorist. Well, damn it. Okay, I like this one. If you got Netflix, definitely. I give it a thumbs up and a halfway, because if you're really, really bored and there's nothing else to watch, you can watch it. It's not on YouTube. It's probably out there for sale somewhere, but Netflix has got two things on Bigfoot, and next week we're talking about the other one. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up the Netflix friggin' edition of what's going on with the truth behind Bigfoot. And we'll find out where that fits into your Bigfoot college education next week. We want to thank everybody for watching. We're going to say goodnight to you now. Say goodnight, Wes.
Good night, Wes.
And may the Squatch be with you.
In your butthole.
Master Pete! Eat dessert first, grin like a dog, and pound your conch every single day.
Right on your own ear.
10:31 p.m. Country Projects. McGrundleville, Georgia.
The victim's name was Helen McGrundle. She was found laying dead in this position. In her own blood, she wrote one single word: Dick.
Is she saying the killer's name, or just super horny and wanted to go out with a bang? You know what I'm saying?
Search the house for clues. Check for any reference to a dick.
Sir, you gotta come look at this. Isn't her robe, sir, This one says Helen, and this one says Dick.
Oh my God! It's her husband! Tarzi, get me an APB on Dick McGrundle. I want that son of a bitch before the end of the night.
Sir, she's married to an Esteban McGrundle. See, everyone around town, they call him Dick, sir. He doesn't like that. He's got 3 priors. He's been arrested. His first offense was for nearly blinding a barista down at the local coffee shop for writing Dick on his cup. He didn't serve any time for that one. His second offense, he did a little time, about 6 months in county, for punching a Denny's waitress for putting "Thanks a lot, Dick" on the receipt. His third offense, it was a big one. He brutally beat Mr. Washy and broke all his limbs, then threw him down a dry cleaning chute, all for embroidering Dick on all his PJs and robes. He needs to be brought to justice.
Dick, Esteban, it's the same damn thing. Damn it, Johnson, there's a sliced out, gashed out, naked, dead lady skewered like a shish kebab in a barbecued like a honey baked ham laying dead in the other room. This son of a bitch has got to pay.
12:32 a.m. McGrundle residence.
Ding dong. McGrundleville PD, Dick. Open the door.
My name's not Dick, you son of a bitch. My name's Esteban. Oh.
Open the door and come out with your hands above your head. That's right. Now turn around. Get down on your knees, you scumbag. You're going to jail for a long time, you sick bastard. Now we know why she calls you Dick.
Fuck. Why am I under arrest? Fuck off. You're a dick.